the Supreme Court's order on stray dogs. 2 days on, the debate continues. But let's get you exactly what the Supreme Court order says. The complete order is now out. It's been released. And let's get you highlights. What has the Supreme Court really said? What's the fine print on their solution to the stray dog menace in the national capital? Now, in the directive that the Supreme Court has put out, they've said and reiterated what was mentioned previously in the observations, that stray dogs must be removed from all localities. And they've said that authorities have to decide exactly how this will be achieved. But the order does make a mention of stray dogs being moved into these shelters. The order has stressed that there should be no lethargy or compromise in the execution of this task, warning that any individual or organization obstructing this process will face the strictest action. Again, something in line with the observations that we had reported on India Today, in which very clearly the court had said that any activist who tries to interfere, any RWA that tries to interfere, it will not be taken lightly. The court has also said that sentiments should not interfere with this, as the directive has been issued in larger public interest. Now, the top court has said in its order that people, particularly infants, children and the elderly, can move freely without a fear of dog bites. And that's the mission with which they've actually come out with this order. But there's obviously been a question, and this is what's triggered the debate, about whether this is essentially a death sentence for all of the strays out there. And this is what activists have been alleging, hitting the streets and protesting. The Supreme Court has actually mentioned that, in the sense that they've said that any cruelty or neglect of the dogs at shelters will not be tolerated, that they must not be starved or left unmonitored. The Supreme Court has made it very clear that there should be CCTV monitoring that takes place so that adequate care is also provided to these stray dogs. But here's the big question, and the Supreme Court doesn't mention this in their order. What about the infrastructure? This is one basic argument that constantly comes out, which is that Delhi NCR, the National Capital Region, simply doesn't have enough shelters currently. And what really will authorities achieve in a matter of 2 months, which they failed to achieve for the last many years with the animal birth control mechanism, with the ABC mechanism? They failed to ensure an adequate sterilization drive. But can they actually build shelters in that time? Or will they effectively, to ensure that the Supreme Court order is followed, resort to mass culling? That is the concern. Now, the Chief Justice of India, importantly, has transferred this case to a new 3-judge bench. And the judges who passed the order previously, whether it was Mahadevan or Pardiwala, they are not a part of this bench. And now you're going to see essentially 3 judges who had nothing to do with the previous order looking into this particular case. That hearing is scheduled for tomorrow. So important day in the courts tomorrow. We'll see what really this 3-judge bench has to say, whether they agree with the previous order of putting these strays in shelters. But let's get you first to all the details of the protests, the debate in our report.
One order from the top court and 2 distinctly strong reactions. The top court diktat, all stray dogs off the streets of Delhi NCR in 8 weeks. A howl of protests from dog lovers and animal rights activists. A counter pushback by those wanting a nationwide order, not just restricted to Delhi NCR. The Chief Justice of India, B.R. Gawai, has now assured to review a plea challenging the Supreme Court's contentious directive to relocate all stray dogs to shelters in 8 weeks. Amidst the crackdown, voices of dissent grew louder. Fresh protests by dog lovers and activists were seen in Film City, Noida, where some of the country's biggest news channels are located.
No 2 pounds! No 2 pounds! No 2 pounds! No 2 pounds! Yes, 2 pounds!
What you're seeing behind me are a section of people who are dog lovers, who are protesting against the Supreme Court order, which have asked to remove the stray dogs from the streets. They're also partly angry with a section within the media about a coverage that they say has actually led to the protest in the first place. They want the ABC program, which is the animal birth control program, to be implemented nicely, because that's the only scientific manner in which you can reduce the number of dogs on the streets. This is not the right way to actually have strays removed inhumanly, and that's the reason they are protesting.
While there is an infrastructural abyss, and Delhi will have to spend more on dog shelters than it does on public health to just implement the Supreme Court order, questions need to be asked of the overtly underwhelming performance of the MCD to control the dog menace in Delhi. In 21-22, the MCD spent 5.9 crores on stray dogs, of which 5 crores went towards sterilization and just 70 lakh towards building sterilization centers. A Delhi Assembly panel estimated the stray dog population at 8 lakhs in 2019, up from 5.6 lakhs in the last census of 2009. Comparable trends are visible in other metros. Bengaluru spends nearly 9.4 crore tackling the stray problem, while Mumbai BMC spent 11.2 crores the same year, which is financial year 2022. The low spending by the MCD comes even as dog bite cases surge. In Delhi, reported cases jumped nearly 4-folds. In January 2025 alone, the city logged 3,196 dog bite cases. If the MCD even spent 6 crores on stray dogs as it listed for financial year spending the year 2021-22, then there had to be some documentary evidence on ground. What is to the contrary. Meanwhile, caught in this tug of war between humane care and hardline cleanup, Delhi faces a crucial question. Can the city find a compassionate way to keep its streets safe without losing its soul? Bureau Report, India Today.